It is obvious you are not in solidarity with this meeting. The man dressed in black questioned loudly as a young boy stood before the altar. I don't give a crap about what you are doing. The only thing I want is my sister, Hafsa. Where is she? The boy said, directing his attention to the commanding man. I am not certain who you are looking for is here. You are mistaken, young man. Please, go elsewhere to find your sister. She is definitely here without a doubt, the boy replied. She had this shit in her room. The boy raised his hand in the air, holding a blue book. This is your crap text? It's straight up propaganda. You are a fucking cult. The man in black raised his eyebrow before his expression, collapsing into a knotted frown. You could not be any more wrong. That text is the sacred text of Gom. He has brought us many gifts that will move us to our next stage of existence. If your sister did read that text, she should be more enlightened. The boy took the book in his hand and threw it at the man. In midair, the book froze a meter before its target. After freezing in midair, the book fell to the floor with a loud clap. The crowd of onlookers all frozen, waiting for a reaction between the two. Azure, what is going on in there? Did someone mention Gom? Have the Durians made an appearance? Patel questioned Azure over the communicator. Azure stared as the standoff between the two grew more tense. There is definitely something going on with the Kursiam here, he said. Slowly come closer if you can. We may have to make a move if this situation escalates. Patel nodded to Garvey and replied, Got it. Just try to stay neutral before we get there. The crowd in the chapel slowly began to back away, with some slipping out of the exit. The man in black grew more annoyed with the boy's presence. If you refuse to leave, you will be forcibly removed. The priest raised his hand and signaled one of the other figures before him. This assailant, dressed in a velvet cloak, stood before the boy. Standing in silence, the figure slowly removed the hood on the velvet cloak. The boy standing before the altar gasped at what he saw. Hafsa? The boy began to approach the stage again before the red cloak on the girl began to move. Slowly, slithering like a snake across the floor, the ends of the velvet cloak began to expand, quickly forming an overabundance of cloth separating the two. The boy only stared as the velvet cloak continued to move, seemingly having a mind of its own. The girl raised both arms in the air, seeming to command the strange cloth around her. This is getting a little hairy now. See you when you get here, Patel, Azure quickly said over the communicator before leaping through the decrepit holes in the roof. He landed light on his feet right in front of the boy. The crowd gasped as a man just seeming appeared from nowhere. Well, it seems another false angel has come to stop humanity's destiny from coming to fruition, the priest with short black hair said with even more annoyance. Cut the crap. You know this technology has no purpose being used for this cult or even to be used as a weapon, Azure retorted. Stop this act and give the location of Gorm. The black-haired priest's eyes grew wide. Your words have no meaning here, false angel. We will fulfill the true world coming, and before the angels we were meant to be. I, well-born Stainer, will see it through as that is my duty and destiny. Stainer lifted his hand to beckon the girl in red velvet behind him. Hafsa stepped backward. A blank expression spread across her face. Please stop this false angel from causing any damage, Stainer ordered. Show him the strength we have given you, Marker. Hafsa! The boy from before sprang to his feet. Hafsa! Is that my sister Hafsa doing this? The girl did not flinch or make any movement. She only stood still, waiting for the next command from the priest dressed in black. "Hafsa, please stop all of this. Why didn't you show yourself before? Let's please get out of this place and go home," the boy tried to reason. The girl stayed silent as her attention kept a clear focus on Azare. "Hafsa, it's me, your brother, Amal," Amal continued to persuade. "Don't tell me they did something to you, Hafsa." Amal began to make his way to the front of the church. "Stop," Azare quickly interjected. "She isn't listening to you, and she is dangerous right now." Amal scrunched his face. "Don't tell me what to do with my sister. All of you in here, get away from her. I don't know what the hell you all did to her, but she is coming home right now." As Amal continued to walk forward, he jumped in front of Amal. "You don't understand. Your sister is under their control, and she may try to kill you," Azare explained as he also kept his gaze on Marka. Amal tried to sidestep around Azare, but a sharp velvet-coloured blade cracked like a whip at Amal's feet. He stopped in his tracks as a low growl began to emanate from Hafsa. Amal, stunned, slowly looked forward to see 4 velvet blades begin to shapeshift themselves from Marka's robe. "What the hell is this?" Amal said with his mouth ajar. "This is what I was talking about," Azare retorted. "Stay behind me." Marka kept her focus on Azare, waiting patiently for him to make any movement. Then, as if becoming tired of waiting, the velvet blades plunged at Azare. Amal gasped and looked away as he heard the sound of numerous objects clashing with what sounded like metal. He slowly opened his eyes to see Azare holding his palm forward, as if ordering the furious blades to halt. The commotion continued. Amal took a closer look at what he could see as a clear, spherical shield surrounding the two of them. Something almost invisible was protecting them from the blades. With Azare's hand at the radius, he kept it still as the velvet blades continued to strike and whip the almost transparent shield to no avail. Moment after moment, Azare tightened his fist, holding steady his position. Each strike continued to not cause him to flinch. He waited as if watching for a moment for an opening. As the moments crept on, the attacker began to lose strength. Finally, the emotionless expression on the girl changed into a frown with gritted teeth. The attacker was clearly beginning to lose stamina. Azare let out a loud yell. Standing tall with his shield in front of him, he pushed back onto the attack. The girl in red velvet, taken aback by his sudden response, looked bewildered. As if pushing against a large rock, Azare used all his might to swing his sword toward the girl. In a sharp, buzzing sound, Azare made contact against the girl's body. Instead of slicing through her, the sword knocked her to the ground and dissipated into thin air. The priest yelped as the girl in red velvet fell to the ground. Without hesitation, the priest signaled to the others in cloaks. The cloaked assistants dashed towards the fallen girl, ferociously grabbing a hold of her. "We can continue this with our leader. Follow us if you wish to see her. I'm sure you have a few questions you want to inquire about." Grabbing the girl, the group of cloaked individuals ran back toward the door from which they had emerged earlier. "Wait! Stop!" The boy tried to dash after the men, only to be held back by Azare. "Running into a trap is never a smart thing." The remaining audience in the chapel were hurriedly dashing out of the doors. Once all of the audience had run out of the chapel, Patel and Garvey entered into the large room. "What happened?" Patel asked urgently. Azare, holding the boy in one arm, pointed toward the door near the back of the altar. "I think we found where our assailants with the T-brains have taken our technology." "And who are you?" Patel asked, peering at the young, rebellious boy. Chapter 7. Walk in the Green Cave. "So, you say your name is Amal?" "Yes, I came here because she ran away from home about 2 weeks ago. I called the police and told everyone I knew, but no one answered my call for help. but I found this in my sister's room. The boy handed Patel a blue book. This is some kind of cult propaganda or some… No, Patel said, cutting off Amal and flipping through the pages. This is a piece of Kursiam values. It reads like a very authoritarian text. Patel closed the book and looked at Amal. Basically, if you are a slave, be a good slave. That's what they did to my sister. Some kind of brainwashing. I know it. I need to follow them, and what makes you think you can do anything? Garvey said, interrupting Amal. Azare wasn't here, then I'm thankful for that, but you are correct. But wait, are you three not here to stop them? I think it is understandable that you are not with them. We are, Patel replied. But this is a fight that I feel you are ill prepared for. Oh, please, you have to take me with you. I need to see Hafsa again. I believe she can be snapped out of it, maybe like in a movie or something. Azare sighed and added, This is no entertainment, my friend. If you want to see the next morning, you should leave now. I'm willing to take that risk, Amal replied as he dropped his head. Hafsa is my only sister. I can't leave her here with those fools. Who knows what they may do? Well, I think you already have an idea, Patel said annoyingly as the boy seemed unmoved by the warning. If you follow us from here, we cannot guarantee your safety, she said, walking past him and onto the altar. Patel crouched down and knocked on the floor until a hollow sound could be heard. Raising her fist in the air, it began to glow a green color. Thousands of small dust-like particles surrounded her fist before she slammed it into the altar floor. Wood bits flew in all directions as they all waited for the dust to clear. When all was settled in the air, a large hull was exposed. Azare? Garvey? Let's get moving. Peering at Amal, Patel said gruffly, Follow, and you will not be guaranteed safety. I know, Amal said, nodding his head. The four continued to walk slowly through the dark tunnel. As the four pressed on, the tunnel began to turn more cave-like. Stalagmites lining the wall let off an eerie green glow in the dark. The only sound that could be heard were of the footsteps of the four figures making their way onward. So what exactly was all of that back there? Amal asked, to finally break the silence. I mean, was that some kind of advanced technology you guys were using? And I mean, who are you guys? I'm not allowed to give a lot of information, but we are here from G.R.E.T. We are here to investigate this strange group that has taken so many people under its wing. Over the past few months, we have been collecting information from multiple points around the world. We have finally tracked this cult, as you say, to this location. And it seems your sister has joined the fray, Patel explained. Does anyone feel a bit of a breeze? Garvey said as everyone stopped to feel the air around them. The wind suddenly began to pick up speed, pushing back against the group. Hold on, this isn't a normal wind, Garvey exclaimed as he grasped part of the wall. What's going on? How is there such a strong wind under the ground? There must be a way out of it connected to the outside, Amal yelled. No, Patel responding to Amal. Give me a moment to scan this wind. It definitely isn't natural. A visor unfolded from behind Patel's ear, covering her eyes, which began to glow purple. A red dot could be seen scanning back and forth across the visor. Got any answers? Garvey impatiently blurted out as the wind began to wipe faster. Give me a moment. I need to finish a scan. Patel continued to stare into the spiral. These winds are starting to create winds seen in an earth typhoon, Azare added. As the winds began to spur more violently, Amal couldn't help the urge to peer over his shoulder. Looking downward, the spiral wiped and spun into the shape of a whirlpool. Faster and faster, the wind became unrelenting. Still gazing into the void, Amal's grip began to slip. Caught between a daydream and his own safety, Amal loses his bearing and begins to plunge into the spiral. Amal screamed as he began a rapid descent into the spiral. Thinking quickly, Azure pushed away from the wall to dive after Amal. Outstretching his arms, the two illuminated whips materialized from Azure to throw at Amal. Catching each of Amal's legs separately, Azure's strange weapon becomes Amal's main lifeline between life and the spiraling abyss beneath him. Garvey's hand began to glow as he threw a small ball of light after the two, expanding into the blink of an eye. The small ball outstretched into a glowing net, catching Azure. The glowing whips held onto Amal's leg. The trio formed a human chain as the wind continued to whirl. Patel yelled to the trio, "Hold on! I got it! I see a person at the very center of the spiral. This is being caused by nanotech." Patel pulled a silver, crescent-shaped device from her hip. With a click of a button, two blades flashed on each end of the device. With one strong throw, Patel flung the device into the center of the spiral. Waiting for a moment, Patel stared into the spiral, as if waiting for a timer to finish. Finally, her gaze broke. The small device could be seen rising from the center of the spiral. Whirling around in the same direction as the spiral, the center of the cyclone began to rise toward the group. Patel yelled to the other three, "Hold tightly to the walls!" With a great heave, Garvey swung the other two to the other sides of the cavern. With a firm thud, Azure and Amal held firm to the cavern wall as the spiral continued to rise. The green wind began to wipe even more violently. Only a few feet below Azure and Amal, the device hovered in midair as the spiral began to thin. Holding her breath, Patel leapt across the vortex, quickly leaping from each side of the cavern. Passing Garvey after two leaps, she eventually jumped past Azure and Amal. Once she became parallel to the device, Patel gave one final leap, catching the crescent device with her hand. Patel, as if doing a headstand in midair, held the device stationary. The green wind continued to thin. The silver device became the new epicenter of the vortex. As the wind continued to whirl, it began to spiral itself into the small device. Slowly, the wind began to dissipate. Patel, slowly levitating in air, while she also slowly descended. Finally, Amal again looked over his shoulder. He could hear a small voice crying. He peered down the long cave. A small woman could be seen, tears streaming down her face. Patel continued her descent, keeping her focus on the silver device, now hovering over the woman. The woman let out a yelp as her gaze upward to the group was broken. She dashed away, further into the dark. As soon as the strange girl dashed away, the wind completely stopped blowing. Azure leaped to Amal. Wrapping his arm around Amal's waist, he calmly ordered, "Hold on," before making the same maneuver as Patel before. With Amal following, the four landed together at the bottom of the cavern. "Look, right there," Garvey said, pointing to a small indentation in the wall. Patel walked to a small hole to get a better look. "Big enough just for a person to crawl into," Patel remarked. "And now we know where we have to go." Patel turned around and looked at Amal. "This is what I was talking about before. This cult is probably not even a cult, but syndicate-run ideologues using advanced technology. You may want to stay put." "No," Amal quipped nervously. "I need to save my sister. No matter how dangerous it is, I believe I can help." "Things may even get more dangerous from here, my friend. We may not be able to protect you at all times. Also, our guess is correct. We may encounter—" "No, no, no," Amal interrupted. "I'm not flinching, but I'll allow you guys to do what you have to do. I can't go back, even if I want to. I came here for Hafsa's sake." "Tamasphere," Garvey finished his admission. "What?" Amal replied, confused at Garvey's response. "We may encounter a Tamasphere." Azure turned towards Amal. "Everything we have encountered so far is not natural. It is artificial. We use this technology from G.R.E.T. All the weapons and devices you have seen us use are made up of microscopic robots, manipulated using our own built-in computer," Azure said, pointing at his head. The weapons your sister used and that green whirlpool threatened to stop us? Those were manipulated using the mind, Patel said, turning to the hole. I pray for the young girl we saw. Her mind was not in a calm state. That whirlpool was the work of a jumbled mind. Your sister and all those in this cult are probably under the state of mind, Azure said. She didn't respond to me or listen to a word I said, Amal said, disappointed. This technology is controlling her. Maybe, or maybe not, Patel added. An individual must usually be open to using this technology. Most nanotech users have a device that helps control the microscopic machines. These individuals that we have encountered seem to have the technology living inside of them. Please, Amal pleaded. I need to save her. You were right. This is a lot to take in, but please, I'm begging you. She is the only family I have left. Let me help, even from afar. I even have this. Amal pulled a small, blue oval-shaped device from his pocket. I believe this has some of that technology you were talking about. I got it from a group similar to you guys, Amal explained. Patel took the device and examined it in her hand. A group like us? Is that so? Patel said, turning the device to all different angles. Patel continued to examine the device for a few moments while Azure and Amal joined in to inspect the device. Usually, it would be ridiculous to allow someone unarmed to help, but you might be helpful to us. From afar, as you said before, Patel said. Let us continue, Azure said. We need to find out if this path does lead us to where Gorm is. One by one, the four walked in the small hole, taking their time to not scrape against the rocks. First Patel, then Garvey, and Azure with Amal staying close to one another. After a minute of slowly crouching through the small space, the walls began to widen. It looks like it gets easier as we keep going. I bet we don't have much longer. That girl couldn't have gotten too far very quickly,